Hey guys, what's up? This is Stephanie Fleitas here with creatingwithin.com, your place to get in touch with your inner world. And today I just wanted to have a conversation with you and talk to you about really the importance of honoring your feelings. Because honoring your feelings is really tied into your self-confidence, your self-worth, and ultimately the kind of relationships and the quality of relationships that we have. You know, relationships is a theme in my life that I am not very proud of, but I totally can admit that is one of the major themes that I came here to work on. So I'm always going through a lot of different extremes in that area, but I'm always learning a lot. But yeah, relationships, god damn it, they're so fucking difficult sometimes. But really what I realized as I look back and reflect at my life, my decisions, the interactions I've had with people, and I'm referring more to like a romantic relationship, but this applies to everything. Really comes down to honoring your feelings. You know, oftentimes we think that we love ourselves, and we hear this all the time in the spiritual community and just in general about the importance of loving ourselves. And it's really true, as like woo-woo as it sounds, we really have to love ourselves because it is from that place that everything else is born, you know. The way that we carry ourselves, it affects our self-belief, what we're going to do or what we're not going to do, the kind of actions we're going to take, the decisions we're going to make, the type of relationships we're going to have. Everything comes down to how we really see ourselves. How do we feel about ourselves? What we feel we're worth and we deserve is going to be what we attract into our lives. But sometimes I think this process gets so complicated about self-love. And for me, really the message that I really have been receiving lately in my life is really self-love is simply about honoring your feelings, like doing the things that you need to do for you. And so oftentimes we don't. You know, we find ourselves, let's say, in a relationship, for example, and we end up sometimes honoring the other person's feelings more than we honor ourselves. For example, if you're the type of person who's really obsessed with finding love, or you really are desperate to be in a relationship, and then all of a sudden you get in a relationship, you might be the type of person that loses your sense of self, your own energy, and you merge yourself with the other person. And maybe you're the type of person that your entire world becomes that relationship, which isn't healthy. Maybe you're in a relationship and all of a sudden, at the beginning, it's a lot easier because there's not a lot invested and you're able to really do what you want, say what you want. But then the minute that there's something to lose, if you don't really love yourself or are not used to honoring your feelings, it's very easy to start living in somebody else's headspace and to start making decisions based on how the other person's feeling, constantly always analyzing the other person's feelings and thoughts and trying to anticipate and predict. And it just gets so complicated, and then that's how we lose touch with our own selves and our own feelings. I know for me, when I was younger, when I was 19 and I got in my first relationship, that's what happened to me. I really lost myself in the relationship because when I finally opened up, it was like my whole world became my relationship. And before you knew it, you know, a year passed by and it's like I'm making decisions based on this person, you know. So what I really want to emphasize with this conversation that I'm having with you is really like look at your life, and if you're in a place in your life where maybe you're just desperate for a relationship or you just really don't understand why you can't find someone, you have to really look at yourself and see, are you the type of person that is constantly honoring your feelings, or are you living for other people? Do you put what you feel aside to please others? You know, we might be in a relationship where somebody does something to us that we're not okay with. Do you speak up about it, or do you just hold it in and let it slide because you don't want to rock the boat or you don't want to cause chaos? And these are the things that we need to look at, and that's what honoring our feelings is about. It's like if something is not okay, you need to speak about it. You need to stand up for yourself, and you need to let another person know what you are okay with and not okay with. And oftentimes we stay in situations because we want this thing to work out so much that we're willing to compromise ourselves. And let me tell you, that is not the way to live, and that is not the way to attract the right people into our lives, nor is that the way to have any kind of healthy relationships. You have to start putting yourself first, and you have to start honoring your feelings. And if you don't feel like doing something, or if you don't think something is right, you need to put your feelings first, because it's the only way that anything is ever going to work. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many directions I can go with in this topic, but I want to kind of just keep this video more specific to really honoring our feelings. And even if you're not in a romantic relationship, this applies to doing stuff for other people. Like, I met a woman here who I became friends with, and she's really cool. But she has a lot of difficulties in the area of relationships. And for her specifically, her issue is that she always puts other people before herself. And whether it's romantically or just friendship or business, she's always doing things that she doesn't want to do, but she thinks she has to do because maybe it'll make the other person happy, maybe it'll make people like her more, maybe she does it out of obligations. And I talked a little bit about this in the video of doing something for the act itself. I think that's what it's called, a while back when I was in Bali in the summer. And really it comes down to, it's not about being selfish, but it's about really honoring ourselves, because when you do things because you think you have to, or because you think it's going to make the other person like you more or appreciate you, it's only temporary. It's not going to last. It's not going to be authentic, because you're not honoring yourself. You're not being true to who you are. So you're never going to really attract the right people into your life, because you are being this version, or you're being this person of how you think you should be in order to get this thing you want from them, whether it's a friendship, whether it's this business transaction, or whether it's this love. So really look at your life and see what you're doing and how you're not honoring yourself, because I guarantee you that there's so many aspects in your life that you do not honor yourself, and that you're putting other people's needs and feelings and thoughts before your own. And also know that it's okay to walk away from something that's not working, because oftentimes part of honoring our feelings is we find ourselves in situations where people don't respect us, so they're not treating us well, or they're not honoring us, and it's easy to look at them and blame them. But oftentimes really the reason that it's happening, the reason people are not respecting you, the reason people aren't honoring you, is because you're not respecting yourself, you're not honoring yourself. And when we take a closer look, you'll see that it's us. You know, people treat us the way that we allow them to treat us. And oftentimes, even if we are a good person and we have all these things, sometimes people are still going to mistreat us, because unfortunately, the relationships we have with others is a direct reflection of the relationships they have with themselves. So people can only treat you and can only give you the love that they're capable of giving onto themselves. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But just my emphasis in this conversation with you is just honestly, like, look at your life. If you're in a place where you feel like people are disrespecting you, they're not honoring you, you're not attracting the right people, you're not having the right quality of relationships, I urge you to look at yourself and see where in your life you're not honoring yourself. How much of yourself do you give up? Do you get lost in a relationship the minute you get in it? Do you give up your passions? Do you stop seeing your friends and make your world about this person? Or, you know, do you have plans and then you change them last minute to accommodate somebody else? All of these things are not honoring yourself. So take a look at your life and see where you can start shifting, because the best relationship that you can have really does start with yourself. And when you start standing up for yourself, when you start creating boundaries, when you start saying what's acceptable and what's not, without being afraid that you're going to lose someone. And if you're afraid that you're going to lose someone, by simply being yourself, by honoring yourself, by putting boundaries, by saying this is okay and this is not, then screw it, because then you don't need those people. It's great, you're filtering those people out. And you're making room for the right people to come into your life, the people who are going to respect you, who are going to respect your boundaries, who are going to honor you, who are going to treat you with respect. And that's what you need. But in order for anybody to respect you, anybody to honor you, you have to do it yourself. You have to stand up for yourself, and you have to honor yourself, because you can't expect somebody to give you what you don't give yourself. Anyways, that is it for today. I love you, and we'll talk soon.